What's up, everybody? This is Jose with Oakland Latinos United, aka Oakland Latinos Unidos, out here in beautiful Lake Merritt on a sunny Saturday, kicking back with the son of a kingpin. The man standing before you is the son of a dude I grew up knowing when I was a kid from Jingletown. Back when I was a kid in East 7th Street, me and my brothers knew this man's dad real well, and we're here to talk about him. So introduce yourself real quick.
My name is Antonio. I go by Dulow, so you see me, that's what you call me.
And who was your father? Where was he from? When was he born? And where was his family from?
My father is also Antonio. He goes by the name of Fat Tone. He's from Oakland, California, Jingletown, just like me. His family, well, his dad is from Jalisco, Son of Antonio. It's my grandpa. And my grandma is from West Oakland.
Okay. And what year was your dad born?
My dad was born in 1969, October 1st.
Orale. At Highland Hospital?
Highland Hospital.
That's where I was born. And so he was my brother's age. So, yeah, the reason I wanted to talk to you is because I feel that people, you know, your dad is from the era that I was a kid and my brothers were teenagers. This was in the 80s, early 90s. This is the crack era. This is the era that was really notorious. It's kind of put Oakland on the map. It's the same era that Too Short talks about and various others. And I feel that the story of Felix Mitchell and Lil D and Mickey Mo and others have been talked about a lot in Oakland. But I feel your dad's story and others like, say, Mexican Mike haven't been talked about. And there were a lot of Raza Chicano factors in the town as well. So I want to talk a little bit about your father's career during that era. You know, some say he would have been a notorious kingpin, but my recognition of him, my memories of him, where he was always a chill, cool dude. So tell us a little bit about your dad, about his career back in the days, and dispel those myths that he was a notorious drug dealer, kingpin killer.
Well, you know, my dad, he was a good person. You know, if he seen you struggling, you know, he was the type of person that'd help you out. You know, I hear stories all the time about how my dad paid for people's funerals. You know, how you know, my dad would buy people, you know, cars and things like that. You know, I don't hear no bad story, you know, but as far as him being notorious and dangerous, you know, yeah, there's stories out there about murder and things like that, but none of those cases were ever really proven.
And what was his career like? I mean, I don't want to get too much into what he did, but when he was the kingpin of Jingletown and of the East Side and of Oakland, what was he doing? What was his career back then?
My dad sold a lot of cocaine.
Uh-huh.
You know what I mean? Like bales of cocaine. If you're getting cocaine in the 90s, early 90s, you know, late 80s, you're most likely getting it from Fat Tone.
Okay. And you were also telling me earlier that the way he got into it.
Yeah, my dad was
in high school and all that.
Yeah, in high school, you know, he knew a lot of people from Fremont. So, you know,
which is where my brothers met him.
Right, you know, going through high school, you know, you meet a lot of people that start doing certain things, and then you start meeting connects. You know, my dad was, you know, more of a quiet person, never really talk. You know, but like I said, he's from Mexico, and then our family, you know, we know people that know people.
Yeah.
So from then on, my dad knew people that were doing things, and he was more of like a donut boy, like a runner, like, you know, going to, you know, like a gopher, get this,
yeah,
like, go for that. And, you know, he realized what he had and the people, what they're doing, you know, he could put it together and really make some money. That's, you know, when the crack era was really about to hit.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it wasn't really, you know, making crack until, what, 83?
Yeah, like 84, 85.
85, you know. So he got into the dope game right before that, right time, and made a lot of money and didn't, you know, live to get to see it.
Yeah.
You know, didn't really get to live to enjoy it.
Yeah. And people, like I said earlier, other ballers of the town are talked about, like Felix Mitchell and Lil D, like we said earlier. Now I'm starting to see some guys like Convict's Perspective. They're talking about Mexican Mike, who was another dude from Oakland. Why do you feel that your dad's story was never talked about, even though he was part of that era and that legacy in the 80s?
I mean, the dope game is known as an urban thing now. You know what I mean? If you listen to rap music, if you listen to shit like that, watch TV, you know, everybody selling drugs is you know, in the rap area, you know, like urban area, and more, you know, urban areas are predominantly black.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So when things get glorified, it's from that perspective.
Yeah.
That point of view.
Yeah.
So
exactly.
I'm here to tell it from a Latino point of view, an Afro-Latino point of view, and you know, and I'm here to tell our stories.
And you yourself, you're half Puerto Rican, right?
I'm Mexican, black, and Puerto Rican.
Okay. Yeah, and as for me, as you know, Oakland Latinos United, the reason I started Oakland Latinos United was because I wanted to tell the Latino Chicano perspective of Oakland as well, because I feel that just in general, our culture in Oakland is always ignored and never talked about. And a lot of times it's overshadowed by the black community. And I'm not saying that the black community is a part of it. I'm just saying it has to be told whether people like it or not. It's town business, it's part of town history, and it is what it is.
I mean, yeah, you're right. You know, I've seen a few books, actually. Little D made a book.
Okay.
You know what I mean? And didn't bring up, you know, my father once, and my dad was his main supplier.
Okay.
So, you know, it's things